You know what time it is. It's your favorite social media coach, Tramel Howard. Coach Mel in the building with your favorite cool uncle, Uncle Flood, and they're going to take you inside the game. So sit down, relax, get your favorite beverage, and hang as they take you across the SWAT, especially in Southern University football and professional sports as they talk Monday Night Football here on Inside the Game. All right, let's get into it.
What's up, bro?
And we're here. What's going on? What's going on, Coach Mel? Nephew, what's happening?
It's another Monday in the books. Just came back from LA with the human jukebox. So I'm tired.
Yes.
but all is well, and I'm excited to be here and excited about today's show.
Traveling the world is hard business.
Traveling the world is hard business, especially when you're doing it on behalf of Southern University. It's hard business.
Yes, indeed.
How are you?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm good. I'm good. It's been, getting ready for the Super Bowl, big week in New Orleans. So a lot of things going on, a lot of people coming in town. So gonna be a busy week to say the least.
Yeah, I was getting off the plane today, and I couldn't help but get depressed all over again, seeing all of those Chiefs fans getting off the plane for yet another Super Bowl.
The wrong red
and gold. The wrong
red and gold. But speaking of busy and the Super Bowl, we have a busy show today. Not only are we going to talk about the human jukebox and the Honda Battle of the Bands, the basketball team playing Jackson State tonight. We're going to talk some NFL. We got NFL agent and Southern University law alum, Paul DeRussell joining us, and the legendary not only SWAC but Super Bowl star Doug Williams is going to join us later on in the show. So we have a full show tonight, I should say.
We do have a full show. I remember when Paul was doing these Facebook Live shows, and now my boy is Hips, Hollywood, Grammar, all over the world. I love it.
That's right. It's an agent, big time agent, growing his agency, man. And I'm happy for him. Glad to see him doing this thing, man. So it's good to know him. Good to know him.
Great man, great family. So really excited about that. So in other news, we are heading into basketball season. We'll get Agent Paul on here shortly, and as well as Coach Williams. So I'm just going to go ahead and get my game ball out early before we get into all of the meat and potatoes of the show. Obviously, very obvious that my game ball this week is going to none other than the human jukebox. Let me just tell you that being in LA this weekend, I realized that as HBCUs, we are missing opportunity to capitalize on the West Coast market. I mean, from the time we got off the plane with Southern sweatshirts on to the time we left the airport this morning, the love for HBCUs is literally it's something I never experienced. And what my friends and I were talking about is often because we're in the South, we take advantage or we take for granted the HBCU culture that is. The amount of love that Southern got in Cali this weekend was it was a great refresher to just be around. So my charge to HBCU presidents, to athletics directors, to all of the folks is to find a way to capitalize on the West Coast love. Like the students, the families, the community, they are hungry for HBCU culture. And I know we'll talk a little bit about Grambling and Jackson State taking their game to Las Vegas, which will be an opportunity for them to capitalize on that. But it's there. The love is there. So my game ball of this week goes to all the HBCUs that participated in the Honda Battle of Bands, but especially always the human jukebox.
Yes. And I know that there's a lot of HBCU love on the West Coast. It always has been like that. I know when I came to Southern years and years ago, when the bluff was just a slight hill, there were a lot of West Coast people, a lot of California people. Louisiana has a direct connection to Los Angeles, to Los Angeles and Oakland. A lot of people have relatives who have moved, who migrated out there, because Louisiana people didn't really migrate to the Midwest. They migrated to the West, and so they went to LA, Las Vegas, LA, and Oakland. So you'll see a lot of people you'll meet a lot of people who have Louisiana ties from those places. So, I know I saw what people were saying where we should go play a game out there. I'm not keen on that, but I am keen on us recruiting the West Coast. I don't know if you go. I think you maybe build to having football games out there. I don't know if you go. I don't know if they're the recruiting tool that people think they are in terms of West Coast. But I think we definitely need to have a presence out there. I think we definitely need to work with the alumni that we have out there to try to get to recruit as many students as we can. Though.
Yeah, no, shout out to the LA chapter because there was all of these things that happened during the Battle of the Bands. So it's more than just a Battle of the Bands. There was a college fair. There was a heavy presence from Southern alumni in the LA area that was there. I believe on the contrary, that I think we should at least play a game, once every 5 years or something. And really just not just a game though. I think that's what the missed opportunity comes is like we just go out there and play a football game and it's done. Then there's much more to do. Like Alabama A&M bought billboards in the West Coast. Like we were walking out, riding down the streets of LA. There were Alabama A&M billboards all around. So there's a way I think to capitalize on it being more than just a game. Just like if Honda returns to LA, I think that as an institution, even if we're not in the Battle of the Bands, there's a way to showcase our institution. So, but yeah, lots of love in LA, lots of love all around. And I really, 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 really enjoyed it. Shout out to Honda for putting on an exceptional show. Everybody represented. I have no bad things to say. Every band that participated was great. It was just refreshing to see because we get so involved with the complaints here that we sometimes get the product we actually have.
And that's what I tell people all the time. Get out and travel. Put on a Southern shirt or a Southern sweatshirt and get out and travel around the country and see the reaction that you get. It'll refresh you. It'll give you an idea of how people look at Southern in other places. Yeah. I tell people that all the time because I used to travel a lot. I don't do it as much as I used to. I used to be around the country a lot, and I would wear Southern sweatshirts. And I've never been to a place where somebody didn't stop me and say, "Hey, Southern, I went there, or my uncle went there, or my sister went there. Somebody in their family went there." And that's I've been in foreign countries. I've been all across the country, and wherever I've been, Southern has always been recognized.
Yeah, I think in the last thing I'll say, and then we can bring on our special guest. I think I was getting on the plane and I had on a Southern windbreaker, and there was a family who was actually traveling from a recruiting visit in Baton Rouge, and her dad looked straight me in the eyes and said, should she go there and why? And so we often control the narrative that is our institution, and it's up to us to be up to date on the information that's out there, and then be shed a positive light. And so I reassured her dad that coming to Southern was a great idea. And just talked about just the experience of what it meant to be in Baton Rouge and all the things that was Southern. And so that particular student will be coming to Southern, I think next fall, and she's going to be playing golf. So it's just we are a ambassador. We are always on for our institution. So just making sure that you represent it like you would anything else. So I'm excited.
Way to close the deal, Coach.
Closing the deals, Coach.
That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it. A lot of these Southern Knights need to take lessons from that,
Close the deal, Melle. That's what it is. All right. So we have a special guest in the house tonight. So I'm going to allow you the honors of introducing our champion of the night. And let's get this conversation flowing.
Well, cool, man. It's good. We've been chitting. We and him have been talking back and forth. Wanted to get him on the show because he has a unique perspective. He's a Southern alum, went to Southern University Law School, but he's also an NFL agent. And this time around the Super Bowl, we're talking a lot of NFL, but, a lot of times we don't get a chance to talk the business of the NFL. So I wanted to invite him on to talk about, being an agent, what that's like, the clients that he represents, because he represents one of the more well-known guys who got drafted this year. And so we want to have him on. Paul Russell, I'm sorry, I'm fumbling the name. We want to welcome him to the show. Paul, what's going on, man?
Bro, how you doing? I'm happy. I'm happy to be here, man. I watch the show anytime I see it on the timeline. You and Coach Melle, y'all doing y'all thing, man. So appreciate y'all having me, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Man, first thing I know, a lot of people want to know, first of all, how did you end up at Southern? That's going to be my first question. What's your association with Southern?
And I'm glad you asked that question. I was happy you started with that. You know, like Coach Mel said, you always recruiting wherever you go. You know, I was I got a family that's gone to Southern. You know, my mom went to Grambling, obviously, but Dr. Tarver is my uncle. So,
Yes.
you know, I remember going in the suite to the Bayou Classic since I'm maybe 10, 11 years old. My cousin Vic played ball at Southern as I kind of started to grow and develop as a tennis player. A lot of people don't know that, but I played tennis at Southern, and we won back to back SWAC championships. So I had an opportunity to go play at Southern, and it was kind of a no brainer, man.
Yeah.
If I got love for Grambling. I got 9 credit hours there during the high ability program, but all things considered, it was gonna be the yard for undergrad. It was gonna be the yard for law school. If I'd have went back to school again for something, I still got some eligibility. Look,
Yeah.
I still got some eligibility left, so I might go join the basketball team and just not play.
Yeah, just go and be there and travel with him every now and
Like
then.
like Udonis Haslam did for the Heat.
That's right. Just be
Yeah,
the OG on the bench, giving
th-
out
th-
sage advice.
that's what I'm gonna do, man. Keep them away from the IT models. Gotta make sure they locked in.
That's right. Keep them focused. I know that's right.
No,
I know that's right.
that's love. I knew you played tennis because I've been asking Paul to play me on the course, but he been running. But it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But but no, bro. I would just love to know just if you could just talk about how your experience at Southern has played a role in the work that you currently do, and how you've seen the success at Southern lead to the success where you are today.
I tell people all the time, and I think one of the biggest things in being a sports agent is you're gonna meet people from all over. That's either geographically, that's either economically, that's even to me, Southern is a melting pot. Despite being an HBCU, you're gonna meet people from Shreveport. You're gonna be locked in with people from Chicago. So all those tools that kind of shape. I played with tennis with guys from Botswana, from Colombia. People from Atlanta. I think just everywhere, like all those experiences taught me how to move in different rooms, man. What no and and being in a fraternity, I ain't gonna shout them boys out. They know what it is because they probably playing a bet that I was gonna say something about my chapter. But even just being in a fraternity, dealing with people who process things differently. You got this one guy, he's about the business of the frat, right? Then you got this other guy, he like, we gonna fight. So you know what I mean? So all these people kind of shape who you become. And I think just we're all a sum of all our experiences. So as an
One of your
agent, I've seen so much, whether I'm having to talk to the general manager of the Buffalo Bills, he's a certain way, or the general manager of the Tennessee Titans and Rand Carthon, who's a different way. I say that the big thing is that Southern exposed me to just a myriad of different people. It taught me how to deal with adversity. Let's just be honest. Y'all know
yes.
when you're dealing with Southern, sometimes the registration ain't seamless.
Right.
Sometimes things don't always go right. And that's with anywhere in the world, but it taught me to understand, like, yo, like, all right, shit, Mayberry closed early. Let me go and make it to done. It taught me, being an English major. I had Dr. Sam Cuddy. I had some professors that was impossible. And I had to learn how to navigate and move. You couldn't lean on, you got tennis workouts 5 in the morning, but you still got to be at class. And you
Yeah.
still got to expect it to perform. So by the time I got to law school, honestly, the undergrad experience, I had been through so much from joining a fraternity to all the things, learning how to balance my time, my energy, how to move in different circles, how to still be the consummate professional. Like Pretty Wednesday, they say they won't, but that taught you to, hey, bro, make sure your belt hitting that tie correct. So, you had all these people who kind of shaped you early, and those lessons that you get, man, you take that with you, and you keep moving as you navigate, whether that's law school or working at a top 5 law firm in the world, or struggling early as an agent to ascending early as an agent. So, man, I ain't trying to be an infomercial for the yard, but they prepared me for everything. Like
yes.
just in anything, man. Everything. Sometimes, when you go through things, for example, we're negotiating the Jeffrey Simmons deal. Them people talk crazy about you in the comments. They going in, they going in, they going in. But like going to the HBCU, you got to realize, yo, I'm not just moving for myself. It taught
Yeah.
me to realize I'm part of something that's bigger than me. Because if I start popping off and crashing out, it ain't just the agent Paul crashing out. It's
Yes.
is the agent Paul who went to Southern crashing out. And I think Southern does a good job of holding us all accountable because we all feel like the court, you just come back from the battle. Man, we one band, one sound at the end of the
Yeah.
day. Like we all are a
Yes,
reflection of each other.
yes, definitely. Your frat brother Teldra says hello, by the way.
Yo,
Uh,
what's good, brother?
yeah, man. And like you said, you mentioned some of your clients, but I wanted to talk to you. And you're right. Southern makes you so adaptable. You can adapt to any in a situation when you went to Southern because you learn so many things and meet so many different people. And I think something that gets left out is that, and I always get in this discussion with people of color. I won't say people of color, black people who didn't go to HBCUs, and they always throw it at you. Well, we want to be exposed to the other people out, and I tell them all the time, you meet those other people. You meet such a wide range of people at a HBCU, and in particular at a school like Southern. Like I tell them all the time, I met, like you say, people from the east, the west, wherever, from foreign countries, and they all had different backgrounds and different goals.
Sure.
Even though, and it teaches you that we come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, attitudes, and
Hey,
education levels.
coach, I'll tell you this, man. Going to HBCU made me realize I wasn't weird. Right? Like,
Yes.
going where I'm from Eunice, Louisiana, bro. I'm the smart dude. It's like you are outlier. Like
Yeah.
you smart, you making good grades, you can hoop. Like, yo, I listen to NSYNC sometimes. I ain't even gonna, cap to you,
Yeah.
like. But once I got to Southern, I'm in Bradford Hall. I'm like, yo, it's people like, yeah, these people, they turned up on a Thursday, but they in class on Friday. We are twins. So it was big, and even going to law school, which was the numbers was 53-47 or 55-45. So, like that's you absolutely right. There's a misnomer that you won't get exposed. You're gonna get exposed to a whole array of people, man, going to Southern. And it like that love, for example, when I was at the Super Soulful celebration last year, I saw my dog Rod, who was a Q on the yard with me. It's like a level of love we see when we see each other out in the world. He like, man,
Yes.
come on, bro, get in the Uber with me. I'm gonna give you a ride. I'm straight. I was like, cool. I said $33.56. I was cool on it. But like that's the love, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
No,
it definitely is. You went to law school at Southern, but we know going to law school, but how did you make a decision to become an NFL agent? Because that doesn't seem like the first thing that pops into people's
Right.
head when you go to law school.
It's not, but like being at the law school, there was a sports and entertainment legal association thing. That's mostly like the entertainment side. For me, I always love ball. I love sports. And I knew that I wouldn't be an agent right away. You kind of got to have a plan. It's not like Jerry Maguire where you get that one mercurial client and it don't work like that. So I had a
Yeah.
process. I knew where I was from geographically, from Southwest Louisiana. It's a lot of talent that comes from there. And I knew I went to Southern, and I knew, despite tennis maybe not be, people don't look at tennis like tennis, but you still play the sport and you understand how athletes think and how are wired, more so cornerbacks and wide receivers. Because in tennis, a lot of that, you on that island. You by yourself and you got to have a level of irrational confidence to be a tennis player. It ain't no tapping out. It ain't no. So just the mindset of playing tennis, I already knew how athletes thought. So I knew I needed to do really well in law school. And I was fortunate enough to graduate top 5 of my class. So that kind of set me up to where at that point I'm choosing law firms. And I wanted to go to a law firm that had a big name, that paid good money. So then first 4 or 5 years I could have a nest egg once I decided to go into an agency so that I could have the requisite funds to kind of, fund draft processes or this and that. I wanted to stand on my own. I didn't want to go work for nobody. And especially after working for a law firm and doing billable hours, I was cool on that. Like I'm good. I'm good on cracking jokes at the water cooler because I don't want to do that no more. So
Yeah.
at that point, man, I just started learning more about the CBA, which is the NFL Collective Bargaining Agreement. And I made a decision to go take the test. My daughter was 1 or 2 years old at the time, bro. Kind of like on some pursuit of happiness type stuff. But I went take the exam, man, passed it, and I wish I could tell you that it was successful early on, but it's a very hard business. And my first 2 3 years, not signing guys, undrafted free agents, back in, but I didn't realize at the time, man, you go through things, you're growing. And it wouldn't have been my story if year one I would have signed the first round pick.
Yeah.
Because you don't there's no shortcuts to this business. You really have to learn how to navigate undrafted free agency, a day 3 of a draft, building a rapport with area scouts. Crazy enough, man, built area scout Brett Ackley was the kicker at Southern.
Good
He
Southern, yeah.
started out as an area scout. Bro is the director of college scouting for the Chicago Bears. Me and him saw each other. We took a picture, and I'm talking, yeah, who you guys? Let me know. So I think I didn't cheat the process, bro. And somebody was telling me the other day, like, bro, you ain't got to keep getting it out the mud. I get it. I'm at a higher trajectory right now, but that dog in you and still knowing how to grind and still knowing when it's time to lace them up, go pick up somebody from the airport, go do all these things. Like I learned how to do all those things in the early stages of my career, man. And just I felt like my football acumen, my ability to connect with people and understand the game at a high level, doing over 200, 300 mediations. I feel like I got every box that you can check off to make a successful agent. And I come from an HBCU. So that's like a story in itself too, because it ain't many of us.
No,
Right.
that's a great transition to my next question, Paul. When you think about like going to law school, figuring out this is what you wanted to do, and actually doing it, because I know you hear people a lot of times, I want to be an NFL agent, I want to do this and that. What is your piece of advice for people who are young folks who may be watching, who are trying to get to or be the next
Um,
agent, Paul?
I say this all the time, man. Tony Evans, I don't know if you heard his book, The Kingdom Man. Kingdom Kingdom Man, Tony Evans got a part that people always come up to him like, how do I get to be a successful, how do I get to this point? You're like, you gotta be willing to do the hard SHIT. I think so much of this business gets glamorized. Like they see me on the sidelines, right? They see you on the sideline. They see, oh, you did a $104 million deal. You ain't see all them nights I drove 300 miles and people ain't answer the phone for me. You didn't see. So my first advice would be like to take a long look in the mirror and ask yourself, do you want to be an agent or do you want the idea of it? And if you want the clout of it, to wear the hat and to do all that, you're going to get your butt whipped and this is not for you. So I think the first thing is to look inward and be like, yo, is this something that I really want to do? And do I want to go through the adversity of missing on clients, getting rejected from bigger agencies that I'm trying to work with, people mocking me, spending my own money, losing? I think that's the thing, man. You have to first look to see if this is really in your heart. Because if it's not, bro, every year 100 or 200 agents lose their certification because they haven't signed a player in 3 years. You have
Mm,
to have, so that would be my first advice. And I'm not trying to be negative because it's really not for everybody.
Yeah.
But the fact is, if you got that dream and you want to get better, I mean, it can happen for you. But my story is, I think, a bit of an outlier. It took me 8, 9, 10 years. A lot of people quit before then. So I've just been extremely blessed to select, and I'd also say this: select the right players. People think it's always the agent, the player selecting the agent. A lot of times that you have to decide who you want to work with. You mentioned Keon Coleman earlier. You know that's a kid that everybody talk about, but that he like my son, nephew, brother. Like picking the right people that that loyalty is a two-way street and y'all work well together and you can have the difficult conversations. So man, it's so much that goes into it, but it's not impossible.
yeah.
Yeah. Who was your first, like your breakthrough client, your first, not necessarily your biggest client, but the guy who really kind of put you on the map and helped you build that reputation as being a solid agent?
I'll say hold on, let me do a disclaimer. All of my clients are the most all of my clients are important in the puzzle.
Yeah.
Like everybody matters. But I say he's no longer my client now. But the first success I had was 2018 with DJ Chark, was pick 61 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That didn't turn into as much success afterwards, but it at least it was more like internal for me. It showed me I could do it. And then I say that in 2022 the Jeffrey Simmons deal, if we just being honest,
Yeah.
that's really what set my career, where people, because, as an agent, there's a belief that, oh, anybody can do a rookie deal. But to negotiate a deal like that as a first time agent at a table and a stage that big, and goes back to that Southern University, but we not going to fold in them moments, dog. Like,
Yeah.
so to get a deal done worth over 104 million, 76 million guaranteed, and then it dropped on Good Friday, bro, like an album out of nowhere. Like, hey, we hadn't talked in so long, bro. I never got that many texts. I think my phone broke that day, but once you get Jeffrey Simmons, you got Tyree Phillips, Jeray Jenkins. You come back the next year with Keon Coleman, Marcus Banks. I got 4 guys this year just signed. It's like, man, when you get that momentum, it's like I've always been the same agent, bro. Like I've always been this, and that's the crazy part. People think that's arrogant. It's like, bro, I knew I've been one of these. It's just y'all finding out. Like
Yes.
it's just my albums was dropping on SoundCloud, but I've been had heat. You
Yes.
know, so I'm thankful for it, man. And I don't believe there's anything such thing as a super agent. Any agent that's feeling themselves too much, you got to realize you blessed to be in this position. It's because somebody believed in you. Now, granted, you have to earn the opportunity. Like, listen, but Keon ain't give me nothing. Everything that we done, I've worked hard for, but still, he still had to choose me. And that's
Yes.
why it's never lost on me, bro. It's always about the player. I got to do CBS. I get to do stuff. I got a book coming. That's just using my platform to amplify God and the things that I'm trying to do. But it all goes back to the player, Flood. It all goes back to the player, bro. And
Yes.
I, I was in Buffalo, bro, and I started crying on the sideline before the game, like I was about to play. True story. I was in Buffalo, bro. You know, talking, talking to my woman. And I'm light skinned, so I get my feelings. And and it's like his tears streaming down my eyes, bro, because like, dog, I'm a little kid from Eunice, bro, playing Tecmo Super Bowl, playing Madden. I'm in stadiums that I only used to play with on the game. You
Yeah.
don't never
Yes.
think you're gonna see these places, bro. And like, damn, I got an NFL client about to go to the Super Bowl. Well, I thought.
Yeah.
And man, it's not lost on me, bro, how blessed I am to be in this position. It's not also lost on me how I gotta be one that always go back to Southern and talk to them kids and help them. I'm doing something on Wednesday. I done been back like 8 times. And I think it's important because too many times people want to get to a place and they just want to look what I did. Look what I did. I feel like I'm obligated to the yard to help that next kid so it don't take him 10 years.
Yeah.
It should take you 4. You
Yep.
know me. So I should be able to tell you, hey, cuz, save some of your refund check. You don't need about 15 bands coming out if you're trying to sign a late round pick. This is the things I'm telling them that nobody told me.
Yeah.
Yo, hey, don't sign him. Go find them skill position. If you're looking for a guy at a small school, you want to look for long arms, measurables. Like, I've learned so much from losing, cuz. I'm like, that D tackle right there, bro, he got 32-inch arms. I
Nah.
don't, like, so all the things I've learned, bro, and it's like, I like to talk about ball. So all this stuff fun, coach. You know what I'm saying? It's like, God, God doesn't give you a gift for you.
Yeah.
I believe God gives you that gift to share with other people and help them. I'm gonna be cool. Look, I don't get paid again. I did what I had to do in that Jeffrey Simmons deal. I'm straight. But like, it's now that next thing is for me to be a champion of my community, and
Yeah.
especially my
Right
school.
on.
I
Right
love it.
on.
I love
Right
it. You
on.
talked a lot about the negotiating table and these different people and parts that it plays. What have you learned about yourself the most through all these processes?
Damn, that's a good question, Coach Mel. Like, damn, but that's a good question. Um, here's what I learned, man. I stopped drinking alcohol 3 years ago. All right. I found out that I was enough in my own state, that I didn't need no extra. You know how sometimes, you about to go out, man, let me get a shot, let me get that pre. I learned that naturally. I say 3 words I learned about myself, bro. I am enough. And,
Yeah.
so many times in this world, bro, there's imposter syndrome. You be like, man, am I good enough? I only made a 140 something on the L set. I only. And you really portray this level of confidence, like, yeah, I'm that one. I'm that. You say it, but sometimes that's like bravado. You saying it like you trying to convince yourself, but you're not really sure.
Yeah.
I found out in that Jeffrey Simmons deal, just the pressure that I had from, having his uncle over my shoulder, Jason Hatcher, from having the whole world doubt me, to being like, why is he going with him? I found out they're like, yo, like, I'm one of them. And I kind of thought it, but until you do it, bro, until you get that first counter offer back from a team and it's some bush, like, you think it's gonna be easy. You think it's like, oh, I'm gonna send them one offer, I'm gonna write it on a piece of paper, and it's gonna be done. Nah, it's 6, 7, 8 week back and forth process. I found out that I really knew my stuff. I found out that it's like the book The Alchemist. Everything that I'd ever been through was preparing me for these moments. I found out that I was an elite level communicator with my client, with general managers, with salary cap administrators. I found that I was able to deal with pressure, like real life pressure, bro, and not fold. And I think once you do it once, it equips you. Granted, it'll never be the situation again. It'll never be the same situation again. But once you experience a certain level of success and you learn from what you did wrong, because with the Jeff Simmons deal, I feel like I left maybe like 1.5 M's on the table in guaranteed money. But I had to get that deal done before Quentin Williams because I didn't know what that was out there. So you learn, bro. And by the time I was time from negotiating with the Jeffrey Simmons deal to Keon Coleman's rookie deal, where we got the highest percentage of guaranteed money for a second round pick ever, I used those lessons. And now with those lessons, I'm using this lesson. So, bro, long story short, I just found out like that I was prepared enough for any moment and I was as good as anybody. And just quiet as kept, bro, not to be on no, like, I think pound for pound, I'm up there with whoever. Like, whoever.
Yes.
You line them up, cuz. Line them up.
I love that.
Yes, indeed, man. Look, I know we gotta let you go, but I got one question for you. What's next for you? Are you expanding your brand, getting outside of NFL? What's next for you?
That's a great question, Coach. I got meetings, bro. Like this last year, I got meetings from like 7, 8 of the top agencies, right? And I know what they want. But at this point, man, I'm gonna continue to bet on myself and build the way I want to build. I feel like that needle's only going up for me. So I'm gonna continue to grow. I hired another young agent who went to Southern Law School who works with me. I won't say for me. Said he's gonna be special. I got some other black women coming aboard in the equation because, as you know, bro, ain't nothing go right without a black woman.
You gotta have it. You gotta have it.
There's a thought to expand and partner with people. I got one of my daughters who's doing some basketball work. I've had thoughts of that because I've seen those basketball contracts. But it's just I'm going to represent coaches pretty soon. So man, it's just taking it step by step. I want to keep progressing, but I want to keep moving where I'm moving. I got 3 guys in this year's draft. Elijah Badger, who gave LSU 140 ball. He's one of the best receivers in this class. Carlin Vigors, Aiden Huntington. I just signed Tyrell Shavers, who's Buffalo Bills' 5th wide receiver. So I'm gonna continue to grow and get better, man. And I know that God's giving me a spirit of discernment, bro. So whatever my next move is gonna be, it won't be emotional. It won't be, on a whim. It's gonna be well thought out. And shit, we're gonna keep growing, bro. And that boy in Buffalo, that boy Keon Coleman only gonna get better, bro.
Yes,
only
indeed.
gonna get better.
Contract number 2 and 3, baby.
Hey, that background gonna look way different next time I come on the show. Yeah, I got a box back here. You gonna see. You gonna see. Hey, Coach, I'm gonna be able to be your title sponsor by them right now. See, people don't know about
That's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to get you to come represent us so we can grow.
Coach, people only see the agent stuff. They don't realize, when you got a pre-draft process, you probably got $50,000 in the universe between training, stipends. So I got a lot of money out there. I don't spend my money tricking in the clubs, but I invest in my athletes.
That's what it is.
Before we let you go, Paul, thank you so much for coming to the show. We appreciate you. Last question: Chiefs or Eagles?
I don't care, bro. But if you're asking me, I think the Eagles win by 3. I think it's gonna be a close game. Saquon, if you look at the Texans game, if you look at the Bills, people have been able to run on the Chiefs. That Eagles O-line is probably the best O-line in football. Saquon is hungry, and you still got that run-pass threat with my cousin Jalen Hurts. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Eagles.
All right. Well, thank you for coming. Don't forget about the little people. We appreciate you, Paul, always.
Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Love.
Appreciate you. We'll talk tomorrow, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, brother. Paul D. Russell, NFL agent and Southern alum.
Yes, we love to see
it, man. Appreciate him. Paul's brought to you by the Jarvis Antoine Law Firm, criminal, personal injury, and family law. It's the Antoine Law Firm, Jarvis Antoine. You can give him a call at 225-383-7800. So check out the Antoine Law Firm, special sponsor of Inside the Game. Man, we keeping it rolling here. Whew. That was a good one, man. It was good. I liked it. Yeah,
I like Paul. Great man, great guy. Great work. I mean, I think it's great to see for people to see, because we hear things about being agents, and so to actually have someone from Southern, part of the community, who we know connect to is really good to see, especially for young folks out there trying to actualize their dreams. So love the work that you're doing, Paul. Keep going.
That's right. Love it, man. Love it. Keep doing the work. Keep doing the work. Keep putting it in, making us look good.
Yes, sir.
That's
Well,
what it is.
keep this show rolling.
Yes, keep it rolling.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. We have, not only is he I will actually say the name of the school. Since
This
it's him,
time.
since he's so special, I'll actually say the name of the school, even though he is from the Baton Rouge area, from Zachary, Cheneyville. He is a SWAC legend. And not only is he a SWAC legend, he is a friend, mentor, and Super Bowl MVP. Welcome to Inside the Game, Grambling State University's own Doug Williams. Doug, what's happening, man?
I'm good, man. I was just sitting there listening to y'all, man. Y'all got it rolling. I like it.
You like it? Yeah, I'm
I like it,
glad, man. I'm
man.
glad.
That's great.
That's a high compliment coming from you, brother. You've
we-
seen me come from a long way, so that's a high compliment.
I've been knowing you a long time, Reggie, but it's good to see two young guys, man, on that, just getting information and giving information and having certain people on. I think that's great.
Oh man, we appreciate it. It doesn't get any bigger than you. I know you don't like that being said, but in the real world, man, it doesn't get any bigger and better than you. Besides the football, Doug, like we talked to Paul about being an agent, but one of the things I want to talk to you about, besides football, man, you have been able to work your way through the business side of football. We hear all of these stories about former NFL players and some of them being, broken up and not having a lot of things. But you've been one of the guys who've been able to seem like genuinely navigate post-football play, man. How have you been able to do that?
Well, number one, I've been blessed, number one, to be in this position. When I first started playing, at Grambling, I enjoyed playing at Grambling, got a chance to go to the NFL. I knew right then that the NFL wasn't going to be for the rest of my life. You had to do something else. And one of the things I always wanted to do was to be a coach. My oldest brother was one of my first coaches. And that was my mentor. When you talk about mentors, he was the guy that I looked up to. And I wanted to be like him. And when I went to Grambling, I didn't go to Grambling to play professional football. I went to Grambling to get a degree to be a coach. And, I thought I'd be a high school coach for the last 40 years or so since I left Grambling. But I got lucky and I was blessed, man. And went to Tampa, 5 years there in the USFL. And I think, and where I am now, I've been here and had a chance to go back to college twice, Morehouse, and been here for the last 11 years. And I think a lot of it has to do with, I always say life is about people. And it's how you treat people, and that's how people treat you. And everywhere I've been been able to connect with the people that was involved. And, they always giving me respect like I've given them respect. And I've never had a problem, as far as getting a job or working somewhere. I can remember when Grambling fired me, it was 30 minutes. 30 minutes, I had a job, because all I had to do was make a phone call and then Bruce, when I called Bruce said, "Yeah, Doug." And at the end of the day, when I look back what happened to me at Grambling, I say to myself that, you don't know what's the best thing for you until certain things happen. And I look back, after getting fired at Grambling, I thought it was a bad thing because I love Grambling, I love Black College, I love coaching. And that was the worst thing to me. But as far as my life right now, it couldn't have been a better situation, for where I am now and working with this organization and especially the new owners, the new coach, and the general manager. Man, I feel like a new man. I feel like I'm a lot younger than I used to be, and I know I'm not there.
A lot easier to go to work these days.
Oh man, let me tell you, getting up at 5:30, leaving home at 6:30 in the morning is a lot easier than I thought it was.
No, I love that.
I can imagine that. Go ahead, Coach.
No. First of all, thank you for being here. It's an honor to have you on our show. I just really wanted to, from your perspective, we talk a lot here about HBCU football, and you've now get to see it on a different level. You've been a coach, you played there. What do you believe is the future of HBCU football, and where's the opportunities that exist within the HBC programming?
Well, that's something I wrestle with every day. Number one, talk to a lot of people all the time. Me and James Harris, we talk about black college football all the time, and I think the worst thing. This is my opinion, and nobody else's. This is my opinion. The worst thing that has happened to HBCU football is the coaches has gotten involved with the fact that we need NIL, right? That's the number one thing. And I looked at NIL and I say one thing. I love like college, man, football, everything about HBCU. But I also realize NIL is not going to be happening in black college anytime soon. Because first of all, you got to understand where the NILs come from. They come from the big company. They come from donors, and now you can't even write NIL off. So when you talk about people giving money for NIL, they're not gonna give money if they can't write it off. Let's be frank. And you losing players, but you're only gonna lose one or two players off your team. Number one, the most important thing, and I say this, what is happening? You go out there and you look at that porter, and you bring in 25, 30 guys, and now what you losing really the historical part of your school. You losing the foundation. There's a lot of things you're losing. I'm a firm believer that you got to go out. You got to get some young guys. Whether or not they one stars, two stars, or no stars at all, they get a chance to develop and become pretty decent football players. And you want to be competitive. That's no one. So you go out and get your foundation first. I'm not saying don't take a transfer, don't do that. But if you're worried about paying a transfer, who else you gonna pay? You gonna pay the offensive line? You gonna play the defensive line? You gonna play the wide receiver? You gonna play the quarterback? Or who you gonna pay? You talk about a team, and it's not like you take Utah for instance. Well, every scholarship player in Utah got a brand new truck. you know,
Yes.
and whoever else, whatever they do on the side, that's one thing. You take what happened at Colorado. Dion, they raised enough money from the collectibles. From that side of it to be able to pay these guys, and along with Shador and all them boys, that's a whole different ballgame. They do it on their own. So, don't get bogged down into the NIL to say I got this what I got to have in order to recruit kids. That ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna say that now. And all the coaches who might be pissed with me right now for saying that, I'm saying it. And you're gonna ask me why I look at it from that standpoint. I got no problem telling them why.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be a mix. I think it's going to have to be some NIL is going to have to be discussed. If we're going to stay competitive and play Division I football, we're going to have to discuss it, and we're going to have to come up with some kind of program because you have kids in high school now who are getting NIL money. So I
Well,
think we're going to have to have some kind of discussion about it.
hey Reggie, those who get NIL money in high school, they go in Division I anyway. That's
But
where
you
you
would
get
be
their money from.
surprised.
You
Doug,
know,
you would
I,
you
I
would
knew,
really
I'm,
be
and
surprised.
I hear what you're saying, but at the end of the day, you talk about a football team. You got 65 to 70 players on your team. You can't play. You can't pay two or three players and expect to go out there and play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and think about it. We talk about HBCU. One of the things that we behind in HBCU, number one, is facilities. And if you can't raise enough money to make your facilities decent, you're gonna lose them anyway. That's the number one thing. So I look at it from that standpoint. You take every roster at the HBCU, and you can count on 10 fingers how many of them are getting paid.
yeah, yeah.
I
And
bet you can.
I think so too, though. But I think the mistake that we might be making is comparing ourselves to the big D1s. And I understand that's always been Gramblin's mode. That's always been Gramblin's mode to compete. But I think the mistake we make is when we compare ourselves to the big time D1 schools as opposed to our peer schools, the Nickel States, the Magneses, the schools like that, who we're going to be competing against on a regular basis. And if we can't compete with those with the LSUs and the Alabamas of the world. But we're gonna have to get in and compete with the Nichols, the Magneses, those schools like that if we're gonna stay competitive in Division I football.
Let me tell you, I wish it was possible. I hope it is. I hope I'm wrong. To be honest with you, I hope I'm dead wrong. Like I was about the black quarterbacks in the NFL. I said it was going to be about 5 years. We're going to be half of the quarterback was going to be black. But you know what? It would happen this year. And I'm hoping that the NIL, I hope it triggered down to all the HBCU. Trigger down.
Well,
We have a
Jackson State seems to have mastered it on our level. So.
no, hold on, Reggie. Let's be real. Let's be real now. See, I understand that. Deion Sanders was at Jackson State, and people gave to Deion Sanders because
You're right.
ain't but one Deion Sanders in the world.
Yeah.
Ain't but
You're
one.
right. You're absolutely right.
So he was fortunate enough for Jackson that he was able to get some things in there for Jackson while he was there. And people were pissed off because Deion left. I was happy for Deion because we don't get coaches from HBCU that get a job at the D1 level.
Yes.
So, you should have been happy for him rather than talking about it. And what he did for Jackson, I take my hat off. He did a lot for Jackson. I mean, he also did a lot for the SWAC and a lot of HBCU from the standpoint of getting recognized more. And you got some people who was willing to come in to help him. But at the same time, the level that he had at Jackson, it ain't at that level right now. It ain't at that level. No.
Exciting words for Jackson.
No. I talked to TC. I know TC well.
Yeah.
He got him a practice field, and Jackson is Jackson. Jackson winning. When you're winning, you tend to get a lot more.
Yeah.
At least it looks like you're getting a lot more. Let's say it that way. So let's not be fooled. Now you got to think about it. Now you look at our league. Let's look at the SWAC as a whole. Alabama State was getting money from the state. Alabama A&M can hold their own. Grambling struggling, to be honest with you, but they doing what they had to do. I don't know about Southern. Mississippi Valley is Mississippi Valley. and you got Alcorn, Texas Southern get money because of the state and stuff like that. But you go on, it ain't a whole lot of money, but it's enough for them to do what they got to do. They can be competitive. I always say, if you got good ADs who can go out there and get enough money to make sure the program is running and you got what you need to be able to compete. I always think about what Coach Rob used to tell us all the time. And the one thing Coach Rob told us all the time was that we can do anything. We've done so much with so little, we can almost do anything without nothing.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
So I think.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just think the HBCU got to have that mentality first, and when you get more, you do more.
You do.
Yes.
No, I think that's. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Coach.
No, I think that's spot on, and transition me to my next question. Your organization currently, y'all have saw a whirlwind of success this past season and unheard of in more recent times for the organization. What do you think led to like this transition and this mindset shift that happened in Washington this season?
It's about 4 people. I can call 4 names, and one of them got about 15 people with him, and then I can call 3 other names. I can call Josh Harris with his partners. I can say Adam Peters, who's the general manager, Dan Quinn, and number 5. It makes a lot of difference.
Yes.
And we got a bunch of, you talking about something that was done that I don't know what had ever been done before because, we purged almost half of the roster. Mm-hmm. We purged almost half of the roster, brought about 40-some guys in, new guys. But that was done because of the camaraderie, the continuity that we had with the head coach, the general manager, and the ownership. And number 5, Jaden Daniels.
Yes. That makes a big difference when you can get a franchise quarterback. That makes a really big difference.
The key here is, we was short of the Super Bowl and nobody expected us to be there. The owners, coach, general manager, nobody expects for us to be where we were. But the will of the guys, they went out and they played. And they got it done.
Doug, what is it like? I want to ask you about the Legacy Bowl, but while we're on that, what is it like for somebody like you, making that run to the Super Bowl, playing in the Super Bowl? What is that mindset like, man? And get into that game and all the lights and the cameras, man, and just calming yourself and being able to go out there and play.
Well, I was fortunate. I've been in two of them. In Tampa, I played the championship game in '79,
Yes.
and then wasn't successful in that one. And then in Washington, I was. The mindset got to be one thing. You got to realize what's at stake, and you don't put yourself in position to just think Super Bowl. You got to think it's a game.
Yeah.
And that way you settle down and get all whatever pressure. If you allow pressure to be on you, you got to get all that off you and go out and play the football game. And then the Super Bowl and everything else will take care of itself. You got to look at it what's between the stripes. The Super Bowl, like the Super Bowl right now, it ain't for the players. The Super Bowl for the fans.
For the fans.
They down there, they're all in there now having a party. Who caused that party? The Super Bowl, the two teams.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you still got a game to play.
For sure.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Doug, for you, I think for everybody, and especially people around the South, and especially a kid like me who've known you forever, you always been I had a hero of mine. I mean, I think pretty much anybody that's from Louisiana, kids from the Deep South in particular, but in America, you were always looked at as a hero, always have been looked at as a hero. What was that like? What is that like to be a part of American history? I was going to say African American, but America, you are literally a walking, living piece of American history, part of American history. What is that like?
Well, Reggie, to be honest with you, it's kind of hard to explain what it's like because, you go to bed at night and you get up at night and you're still who you are.
Yes.
And I don't think anybody who has been a part of history, who has made history, when they was born, I don't think they set out to do that.
Yeah.
Like for me, I didn't know that what is happening now with me, I'll be here. I enjoyed playing the game. I got a chance to play it and do the things that I was able to do and entertain people. And now, I mean, just like up here, every day when I walk in the building, all the players, they don't call me Doug, they call me OG. And around the city is I see people that say, hey, the myth, the legend, the man. That's what they call me. And at the end of the day, you almost got to take it for what it is, and you can't say that, hey, that's not me or whatever. You just say, okay, thank you, and keep going. But it's hard to explain what it's like because you're not the one. I think as an individual, you got to do what you got to do. Whatever you do, let your record speak for yourself. And that's what I say about, people talk about your legacy. Your legacy gonna be between the two dashes.
Yeah.
The dash that's gonna be between them two numbers, and it's gonna be what you and other people think it should be, not what you should think it should be.
Exactly, man. Like I said, I've been knowing you. Doug was my first quarterback coach, man. Yeah,
Uncle, showing your age again.
Yes,
that's the truth.
It is what it is, man.
You can't get away from it.
You can't get away from it. It's gonna happen to you, me, and everybody else. But Doug, before we get out of here, man, the Legacy Bowl, something that you and James Shaq Harris have, created to be as the All-Star showcase for HBCU players. Going to be here again, coming up soon at the end of February in the city of New Orleans, man. Talk about that a little bit, and how can I get involved? I'm just going to toot my own horn here. We both got voted to the HBCU Legends list by Sports Illustrated. I just want to know, how am I in New Orleans and I'm not on any committee? Don't nobody call me about it. I just want to know, what did I do?
Now, I talk to you every year about with that Legacy Bowl, man. But look, let me say this. I wish the people around Louisiana, Baton Rouge, understand what this is all about, man. And it's not just a football game. Now we have a job fair. We have over 100 companies that's at that Legacy Bowl on Thursdays and Fridays. Looking for kids. I'm gonna say young men and young women from HBCU, whether they finished last year, grad school, everywhere, trying to give away jobs. Allstate, man, last year before the doors even opened, had hired 31 people. at the job fair. But we would hope that you look and see what is really happening, that you come out and support not only the job fair and everything, but the game, because you got kids from around the country, from every school around the country that's involved in this game. And the most important thing when we first started, we say give the NFL a chance to look at these guys. And at the end of the day, everybody's not going to play National Football League.
Yeah.
You got to have a special talent. You got to be able to work hard. And if you're a kid that came into school and think you're gonna make the squad your last year in school, it ain't gonna happen. It starts early on. You got to come out and go to school, pass in school, work your behind off, and you got to bring some talent with you too. It ain't just like that.
That helps.
But the Legacy Bowl mean a lot to myself and Shaq because of the reason is there. The game itself, but the fact that we got opportunity for young Black American women and men to come out and get a job. That's the most important thing. Is what's gonna last them for a lifetime.
Yes. Well, I'll be there this year. And whenever y'all call me and y'all really want me to come in and get involved, just let me know because I'm here. And I love HBCUs and I love y'all. So holla at me.
I appreciate you, Reggie. I appreciate you, man. 'Cause that's I'm all about that, man. And
yes.
I mean, when I'm a Grambling through and through. Let's be honest. But when you're talking about it, when you talk about HBCU, man, I'm all for every university in this country that's up under the HBCU letters, man. Because if it wasn't for the HBCUs, a lot of us wouldn't have had an opportunity to be able to matriculate and do the things that we are able to do today.
Nobody has carried the banner for HBCUs. I mean, not just Grambling. Of course, you've been a great Grambling night, but nobody's carried the banner for HBCUs bigger and better than Doug Williams. And I give you my hats off to you for that. I probably wouldn't be here if in part it wasn't for Doug Williams.
Oh yeah, you would, Reggie. You would.
Yeah, I mean, you were a great influence on me. I always tell a story about Doug, and I'm not gonna tell it this time, but I always tell a story about Doug that most people find to be hilarious, and I think it kind of encompasses the personality of Doug and why he is where he is. Just say, my man did never lack confidence, and he never took no jump from anybody.
We can still tell that. We can still tell that.
You got to be able to say what you think is right, and as long as it's right for me, that's the most important thing. If I think it's right, that's what I'm gonna say, and I think that's the way it should be.
And before we let you go, legend, OG, Eagles or Chiefs?
Super Bowl.
That's right.
There you have it.
You wouldn't throw water on either one.
Well, you know what about this game, Reggie? And I'm gonna tell you for me. Number one, when the playoffs started, it was 7 Black quarterbacks.
Yes.
And I love Josh Allen from Buffalo. I do, as a player. But and for me and for the history and for what had happened years ago when we didn't have an opportunity to play this game,
yes,
I wanted 2 Black quarterbacks. And the fact that not just because they're Black, because they can play.
Yeah.
So it's hard to root for against or with either one of them, man. Like 2 years ago when Jalen and Patrick went against each other, it was probably one of the greatest Super Bowl that ever been played.
Right.
What, 38-35?
Mm-hmm.
Both of them played lights out.
Yes.
To me, it wasn't about the game, it was about the showmanship to America and let them know that a Black man could play that position, man.
Yeah.
And that was the most important thing.
Because of you, they know it. It's in the record books, and now it's showing on the field, man. So we want to thank you and give you your kudos and your flowers while you are here. We don't want to be talking about it. We want to talk about it while you are here.
Yes.
So thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
brother, for opening up the door.
It. Thank you all. Thank both of you all. I appreciate it.
Have a good one, Doug,
Thank
man.
you.
We appreciate you joining us. Have a good one.
All right, thanks.
All right. Yes, indeed. That is the legendary Doug Williams. Douglas. He hates to be called Douglas. So I call him when he get out there. Call him Douglas.
No, listen, he got you to say Grambling and not that school up north. So listen,
yes,
we know that
he got me to say Grambling rather than T-Son.
No, but I mean, two great guests. What an honor to have both Paul and Doug in the same show to celebrate kickoff Black History Month. So yeah, just an honor to have them here. We started this show to highlight the work that we love and the things that we love about Southern, and we've grown already to having the legendary Doug Williams on here. So my heart is overjoyed, just for the support for all the things and all the things. So yeah, I'm almost speechless. Huh? I'm almost speechless.
Hey, it's only the beginning, baby. It's only the beginning. We're gonna get better and better, man. We're gonna get better and better. Tell you that. We got more coming. And I gotta ask you before we get out of here, because we're running short on time. Eagles or Chiefs?
So I have told you my disdain for the Chiefs, only because of what they've done to our living legacy. Yes. So I do not like the Eagles fan base. I do not like them at all. But I love Jalen Hurts, love Devontae Smith, love Saquon Barkley. I believe that Saquon is going to be the difference maker. Eagles by 7. Finally, over the hump.
I'm with you too. And the Eagles fans make it so hard to root for them, but Jalen and Saquon and all of them, I'm a rooter. That's why I'm going with the Eagles too. Like you said, I think Saquon and that defense makes the difference. I think they really put a hurt on Mahomes. So I'm going with the Eagles too. As much as as miserable and awful as Eagle fans are, I'm picking the Eagles.
That's right. So what a show. Is right at the 7 o'clock honor. Our Jags are currently leading Jackson State 26-16. I'm gonna make my way to Mumford to the Mini Dome to see the second half of this game. Hit us with the hitters.
The man upstairs says the same. We'll be back at the same time at the same place, because as always, we're gonna take you inside the game.
Peace.